What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Owie. I got Dustin with me again. We're going to be giving our spoiler review of episode 4 of The Last of Us. Episode 4, we're, right after the historical episode of episode 3 of The Last of Us that, is regarded as it's a high rated episode, but it's
I
kind
love
of,
that you hated it.
yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, I did hate it. I'll,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
I
I'll
loved
give you
it
that.
and you hated it.
That was the episode that brought you around the
Mm.
Last of Us. For me, I thought it was a filler episode, and episode 4 needed to bring. I mean, episode 4 had to bring a lot to the table for me to get back on the positive side on the show after what I thought was even though I did hate it, I thought it was a very well done filler episode. And honestly, episode 4 did not do it for me. I was expecting a lot of action. I was expecting a lot of violence, and I do not think episode 4 delivered on that part. But we'll just get straight into the spoilers and details of what went down in episode 4 because we do catch back up with our main characters that were mostly MIA in episode 3, and that's Joel and Ellie. And one big positive I'll take away from this episode, Dustin, is that I really enjoyed Ellie this episode. I was hating on her last episode a lot, even though she was kind of barely in it. In this episode, she acted more like Ellie from the game. She was more likable and playful with Joel. I enjoyed the relationship and how it grew this episode for Joel and Ellie.
Yeah, I was hating on Ellie throughout the whole series actually, and but she's starting to grow on me. And yeah, this episode that was the one shining star for me was her, sort of growing into the character, I guess, and being more likable, like you said. The bonding between her and Joel. I don't know if it's like a father daughter type of episode, but I think I guess they're getting used to each other.
Joel is starting to warm up to her,
Yeah.
because Ellie is starting to show more of a playful side as they're traveling through. They just reach Wichita, Kansas, right?
Yeah.
In the video game, when they get to this point in the video game, they're still in Pittsburgh. They're still in the East Coast, but now they're in the Midwest of Wichita, Kansas.
Mhm.
And they got some dialogue that's straight out of the games too. When Ellie finds the male porno magazine in the car of Bill's secret stash, that
Mhm.
happens in the game too. So I thought that was a nice little Easter egg or touch that they threw in the game, as well as the joke book that Ellie finds, and she's
Mhm.
kind of saying a bunch of bad jokes and bad puns to Joel, trying to get him to warm up, which Joel kind of eventually does at the end of the episode, but we'll get there. So they're cruising through Wichita. They're on a road trip. They got the Hank Williams soundtrack playing in the truck. That's in the video game as well. And as they approach the vacant QZ zone in Wichita, right, they're
Mhm.
ambushed by some survivors who are faking to be victims. They're wolves in sheep's clothing, which this part was straight out of the game. So I know you're not a big fan of that, like copy and paste. But I was like,
Thank you.
okay, finally we're gonna get some freaking action in this series. I've been waiting for something like this to happen, so I was like, great, we're in this section of the game. Please God, give us a cool action set piece. Which they get ambushed, they crash the truck. Joel's in a little shootout with raiders, or we don't know who these people are yet, but they are revealed later. But Ellie hides, she gets the gun, she ends up helping Joel in his little shootout, and they end up killing that guy after Ellie saves Joel with the gun. Which this all kind of happens in the game. It's kind of spaced out the way it happens, but it's all kind of compiled in this one shootout and ambush scene. Which I was a little underwhelmed. I was expecting a lot more out of this scene, but what do you think about it, Dust?
Okay, so episode 3 brought me in. It was compelling. It was great. Episode 4 pushed me out again. So I'm like, again, yeah, you said it's a copy and paste type of show. It's not as bad as all the other game adapted shows and everything, not yet, at least. But I was hoping for something just like you said. It got brought in. Everybody's talking about episode 3. There's some hype to it, and then it goes back to this type of thing.
Well, what do you mean this type of thing? The ambush scene, you weren't digging it?
Oh, you can tell it's from the game, dude. Everything is from the game. It's like, come on,
You're
you guys
killing
are on a
me. You're
roll.
killing me
There
with
were,
there's a lot of reasons to point out the negatives in this show, And brother,
Which
I don't
I'm
think you're
doing.
picking
Which
the
I'm
right.
doing.
I don't think you're picking the right ones because if
Uh,
I came to this with fresh lenses, I wouldn't have no idea that this action scene was part of the game. But
no, I mean,
there's
I've
a
played
lot of
enough
negatives that
games.
come out of this. I think you're just nitpicking because you never played the games. My
No.
negatives would be that this whole action scene or set piece
Mm,
was really underwhelming from my point of view. It was just really underwhelming. I know I've been comparing it a lot to the games. I just recently beat The Last of Us. I did a second playthrough. So I shouldn't have done that because the video game compared to the show, especially when it comes to these copy and paste parts that you're not too fond of, the video game does it better. I mean, I want to see more action. I want to see violence. I want to see Joel beat the shit out of people with bricks. I want to see him shotgun the limbs off of enemies. And this is a very subdued version of the video game.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it that it's gonna this series is gonna end up being weak, man. We're in episode 4. How many episodes is it gonna be? 10? Maybe eight,
Maybe
10?
8 or 10. I'm going to
8 or
guess
10.
10.
So we're basically halfway.
Yeah.
And we have one episode that everybody was talking about, and then we go back to this,
And it had nothing to do with the main story.
which is why it was probably so good. I mean, okay.
See, that's what I'm saying. I agree
Well,
with
let's
you.
talk about the episode. Let's talk about the episode.
All right. But let me
I'm
just get to
watching the
this point.
episode. We got this old man that they don't explain who he is. We got this girl named Kathleen. They don't know explain who she is. We've got this guy named Henry. I think they're looking for a guy named Henry.
Henry
They
and
don't
Sam. All
explain
right,
who
we'll
he is.
get to them. Let me explain who these
Okay.
people are. Let's
Okay, but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. There should be a disclaimer on this show in the beginning. It says you must play the game in order to
No,
enjoy
no,
the
no,
show.
no, no. And let me get to this point. See, I don't know what you're complaining about. Your complaints make no
Everything.
sense to me because I don't. I'm not a real big. I'm not a big fan of this show either, to be honest with you. But all your
Oh,
complaints are directed
wow.
towards the wrong area.
No,
This is just an
right now
underwhelming
it
and
sucks. I'm gonna call it right now. It's kind of sucks. But
I'll agree with you there. It's but your complaints are in the wrong direction. It's not that it's because it's a copy and paste from the game because this is all different. At this point in the episode, all your complaints right there, this new character of Kathleen, she's not in the game. The whole
Mhm.
reason for meeting Henry and Sam, this isn't in the game at all. This is different. So all
so
your
they're basically
complaints,
the writing just sucks then.
yes, I
Okay.
agree
All
with
right.
you. Okay.
Okay.
So after the shootout scene, we're introduced to Kathleen, who this is a completely new character.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know who the fuck she is, so I'm with you there.
She's a
Uh,
post apocalyptic Karen is what she looks like.
oh, dude,
That's what she looks like.
you nailed it because if this is the post-apocalypse and these people, this hardened group of survivors, are all banding behind this leader, I'm not buying it. I
Mhm.
mean, she was not intimidating, or did she exude any form of leadership skills? She was a post-apocalyptic Karen. So
I'm waiting for the flashback on her being some sort of housewife, soccer mom, and then just got the wrong cup of coffee one day and decided to go ape shit on everybody. That's what that's the next flashback. So if you're saying that she's not in the game, then this is just free writing for whatever they want to do with her.
yeah, that's one of my complaints. I'm like, okay, you're introducing this character who I get no like. I mean, I don't want to shit on this actress. I've seen her before, but I don't see
Mhm.
her as a leader. I don't see her as a badass. So yeah, if they do have a flashback, or they're gonna have to have some sort of good writing or backstory towards her character, because I don't give a shit about her. They show her killing a doctor because he refuses to get information on these two new characters that we hear about, which is Henry and Sam. We don't know why this Karen or the Kathleen is her
Mhm.
character's name, and her group are looking for these characters. Henry and Sam are in the game though, and in the game, they're being hunted by these raiders who are in the game. And this group of people, like Kathleen and her group, they're not in the game at all. Like in the game, these are just shithole raiders that are just trying to kill you. So when you're fighting them, you have no remorse. You feel good beating the shit and shooting these people. There's no backstory. There's no sympathetic angle towards them. So yeah, this group of people, that's all new. So
Okay.
yeah,
And then there was
yeah,
a crater. There's an old man there and a crater.
yeah,
Those are the two biggest scenes with
yeah.
this group.
The crater.
No explanation whatsoever, and I mean the show's not. It doesn't have that sort of grip on you where it's like I gotta know these things. It just doesn't have that grip on you. So It's just I don't know. They're just introducing a whole bunch of stuff, but no, it does. It's not gripping enough.
Yeah,
So
this episode was only 40 minutes long. It could have easily, I think it needed maybe 10 more minutes, maybe 15. You gave episode three like an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, this episode could have used a little bit more scenes to like get us sucked into this world and this new group of characters. Because yeah, like
mm,
you said, out of this new group, we're just introduced to Kathleen, and then a room. There's the foundation's unstable. It's kind of moving up and down. So maybe like something's happening with the infected down there. Maybe like a little layer with
mhm.
spores and fungi is growing underneath, and it's just about to blow the lid off that place, and we're about to get a whole bunch of infected zombies running around. That's what I think is going to happen with that. But
Okay.
which episode five, they got to be building up to some sort of culmination of something big happening with these new group of characters. Joel and Ellie caught in the middle of this, all in Wichita, Kansas. Which let's just get for let's skip forward to the end pretty much because not a lot happened in this episode. A lot of it's almost filler,
It
but
is a filler because again, yeah, it was the worst line that kind of puts this episode in summary. I think Ellie or was asking Joel, "Who are those people? What is going on? He's what's going to be safe?" And I think that's what she said. And Joel just kind of peers out the window. And he goes, "They're people." I'm like, no shit, really? I'm like, wow. Okay, just great writing on their part. So I thought that sounded like a gameplay type of dialogue, but if you're saying it's not even the game, then I don't know who the writers are, but come on, man.
no, I said it once, I'll say it again. The video game is 100 times better. But yeah, we just got Joel and Ellie kind of seeking refuge in this city, and they go
Mhm.
to the skyscraper. They're bonding, and Ellie is able to crack a laugh out of Joel with her terrible puns, which. Like we said earlier, that was one of the shining points of this episode was the bonding between Joel and Ellie because we're finally getting these two main characters that we're supposed to be rooting for finally having a good time with each other and forming a relationship. But as they're kind of resting in the skyscraper, the very end of the episode closes out with two characters, which is Henry and Sam holding Joel and Ellie at gunpoint, and the episode kind of just ends right after that. So yeah, very underwhelming episode four, especially with the introduction of Henry and Sam. They're kind of building these two up. Like I said earlier in the game, they're just kind of survivors you
Oh
run
wait, so
into.
those two guys were that was Henry and Sam
Yeah, yeah,
at
that
the
was Henry
end?
and Sam.
I would have never known.
They're brothers. One's younger. Yeah, like I said, we have no idea who they are. You're gonna have to wait till episode five, which episode five is coming a little earlier. It's coming on Friday. By the
Mhm.
time I probably drop this review, because I'm a little late on this review. I've been busy with other things, but yeah, this episode four, it just needed a bit more. But even in the video game, when you're introduced to the characters, Henry and Sam, in the game, they're just other survivors, and you run into them organically. Here, it's Joel caught with his pants down, sleeping, and they get caught, which I didn't like that at all. Joel's he's a veteran, and he
Mhm.
knows when shit's going down. So
Yeah, I mean, again, no, not really a cliffhanger for me. To sit there. I finished that episode going, oh my, not feeling, oh my God, who are these people? I got to figure it out. I just, the show ended and I was like, okay, cool. Now I can do other stuff. That's
yeah,
basically, that was it. So I had an idea though, watching this show and seeing these last four episodes. I mean, if this is how it's going to be, HBO Max should just do it like Netflix and just let us binge the whole damn series. That way we can just put it all together and not have to like, think that, okay, I got to wait for the next week and the next week after that. Just let us binge it because I don't know. It's not, I almost forgot there was an episode on Sunday, to be honest with you. And then you're going to tell me it's on
really, after
Monday.
your
Yeah.
glorious episode three, you forgot about episode four.
I knew that
You
they weren't going to top episode three. I knew it. It was episode three was just way off of left field. And I knew after episode three, they were going to go back to the games play type of story. So there's no way of topping episode three.
I
This
mean,
episode
you're
three, I'm calling it, it's probably the highlight. You
yeah,
know,
well, I mean, like I said earlier, you're right to complain, but your complaints are directed towards the wrong towards the wrong spectrum because this had nothing to do with the gameplay. Because if it
Because why it
was
was so great.
no, episode 4 had nothing to do with the gameplay. That's
Oh,
why it
well, I'm
wasn't
saying that's
great.
why episode 3 was so great.
I mean, if they would have followed the gameplay or the template of the gameplay from the video game, you would have got at least some excitement to not keep you asleep. You would have got some violent action scenes and set pieces that the game,
Mhm.
could portray that the show just doesn't take advantage of.
I
I
think
feel like
so.
this is a PG version of the show. Like they're really shying away from the violence, and I think even the producers even said that like they don't want to glorify the violence and shootouts like they did in the video game, which is a bummer because that could have been the X factor for The Last of Us compared to The Walking Dead. They could take advantage of the rated R mature audiences that The Walking Dead couldn't do in like AMC, and they were still pretty violent. But so
Yeah.
far, the violence and action have been pretty PG in this series so far.
I am. It's kind of rare to see any violence. We had that one scene with Tess and episode 2, and then after that, it just died down. So it's really at a snail's pace right now.
Yeah,
I mean, they
you
got to
nailed it.
pick it
It's
up.
moving at a snail's pace when it should be picking up. We're midway through, so
Yeah.
all right. Let's give our ratings and get out of here because
Okay.
I think this series is getting the best out of most of us. It needs to pick it up, but I'll give my rating first. It's a
Okay.
2.5. It's a 2.5.
Okay.
I can't really say it was terrible. It's just that nothing much happened. That's the bummer in all this. Like nothing's terrible about it. It's just not much is happening, and it needs to. We need to pick it up. But what's your rating, Dust?
I'm gonna go 2. Let's go 2
Two.
on this one. Yeah, because you're right. Ed, you hit it. It's not terrible. It's just vanilla. This whole series is vanilla, and then you had that one episode, last episode, that sort of had a little, sprinkles on it. But the whole series so far has been vanilla, and yeah, we're halfway through. Yeah, close to halfway through, and nothing yet. So I don't know.
Episode 5 better bring it. Episode 5 better bring it. Some action, violence, good writing, and better fleshed out characters. So everyone could walk away a winner because so far I find this series very underwhelming, and I think Dust almost wants to check out too. He might.
I'm invested. I mean, I'm calling it right now. The series sucks, and I hope I'm wrong. I do. I hope I'll be proven wrong. And you can shit on me for saying it, but as of right now, I'm gonna call it. I think this sucks.
I don't think it sucks, but I'm very
Not yet.
underwhelmed. I'm
Yet.
very underwhelmed and
Okay.
disappointed. So the later half of this season better bring it. But all right, everyone, that's me and Dustin's review of episode 4 of The Last of Us. Post down in the comment section below what you thought of episode 4. What would you rate it? If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more from us, subscribe to this channel as well. Ring that notification bell, and we'll see you all next time. See ya.